Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, September 4th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming here from the WellPoint Studios here in downtown Lowell, joined today by none other than Gerry Nutter, former 980 WCAP morning show host, former blogger on multiple fronts, and now a regular contributor to Inside Lowell, both on podcasts, but with Nutter's Sunday Notes.
Nutter's Sunday Notes are back from the old when I used to do the blog.
Huge success.
Yeah.
You're now up there with the column and Dick Howe's Substack.
There you go. Everyone looking forward to Sundays.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
And they all get, and I managed to tweak somebody off. Everybody,
I get
a response every time.
How many friends have you lost?
None yet.
Time? Okay.
None yet.
Well, then you're not being curmudgeon enough. Yeah, we need a little more curmudgeon, a little less, professional Gerry Nutter. Anyway, great to have you here. We got a lot to talk about. Quick update on the quote-unquote gunman situation that had Lowell the center of attention in the media yesterday. Lots going on with the election that I was hoping to have you come in and preview and talk about, but we also have some numbers in terms of early voting. Published the article just before we recorded on InsideLowell.com.
You've been up early.
I've been up very early. I only wake up this early maybe for Jim Campanini and Peter Lucas, and even then I don't come in this early for you. But it's only because you're that valuable an entity.
Plus,
out
I have
there.
to go to work.
You don't want what I pay you isn't worth.
No, I'm sorry.
Isn't worth your city salary.
Yeah, nope.
All right. Well, we'll get you out of here in plenty of time. Let me first thank my Daily Pulse sponsors, those who do pay the bills here at Inside Lowell. Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, get in touch with Ray Booten today. And you can find him easily enough online. realestaterayBooten.com is the website. realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members like Gerry Nutter. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. We got some other sponsors we'll thank in a little bit, but let's get right to it.
Well, before we talk about what happened yesterday,
yes,
just a quick word of condolences to the many friends and family of Gerry 𝐶𝐫𝐲.
Yeah.
Gerry was a long-time fixture in Greater Lowell. I believe Gerry was on the cemetery commission, on the cemetery board for a long time. But everyone who knows Gerry walked around with the cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat. Cowboy hat Gerry is what we refer to him as.
And that's in his obituary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it says the cowboy.
Oh, yeah. I got to check out. Yeah, such a good dude.
He was a very nice man. Yeah.
He knew an awful lot about the city and knew an awful lot of people. He was in for, he was in for dinner at the Athenian maybe 3-4 weeks ago, max, with Frank King from Action King Services. Yeah. And I just talked to Frank about it yesterday, as a matter of fact. And that way too young.
Yeah. Well,
way too young.
The older we get, the younger that age becomes.
Yeah.
and I get about 8 years on you, so.
Very true. Our condolences from everybody here at Inside Lowell. Gerry, of course, to Gerry 𝐶𝐫𝐲's family and friends and everybody who cared about him. Might as well throw out a little, the mayor of Middle Street, as they called him, Ted Lavash.
Now, I had never met Ted, but I saw that.
If you walk down Middle and Palmer, and between then Cafe Paradiso, that was kind of his campaign off. What's Cafe Paradiso? But really everywhere downtown, Centros back in the day, and even now, Fuse Bistro, Cervantes, whatever.
A lot of great, people posting on Facebook memories of him. Seemed like a very nice man.
Good. You'd always see him sitting in one of the outdoor dining spots late on a Friday, Saturday night. You get out of work, and always a smile, always a good conversation. So Lowell lost a couple of its, dare I say, legends?
Yeah, characters.
So anyway, all of our condolences to both families there, of Teddy Lavash, Gerry 𝐶𝐫𝐲. Thankfully, we don't have to pass along any condolences from what was a very scary situation at first yesterday. Story on InsideLowell.com, updates all over, stories on the Boston media and everywhere else for that matter, Lowell Sun. A student at UMass Lowell posted a video on Facebook of somebody walking near South Campus, near the Riverview Suites, near the railroad tracks by the Merrimack River, pointing what appeared to be a rifle, an assault rifle, and looking menacing doing it, kind of covered up in heavy clothing for a warm early September day, and at one point seen turning and pointing the rifle.
Right.
Nobody in the shots there, but as I posted the video, I found out whose video it was, got permission to use it, posted it on InsideLowell.com. I first heard the audio, and you can hear the fear in the girl's voice saying,
call 911.
Brooke, call 911. Whoever Brooke is apparently didn't do it within the 2 seconds. And then, Brooke, call 911. And immediately law enforcement, SWAT teams, state police, the FBI in town as well. They took this seriously, and they never found anybody.
No, and you know, of social media, all sorts of speculation. I really try very hard not to respond to anything on social media, aside from my post that I do for you now. Mm-hmm. But there was a thread going around, and this woman in this thread was insisting that a girl had got shot. And I lost it. I put up that you are 100% factually incorrect, and all you're doing is causing more fear and anxiety than need to get your facts straight.
Yeah, that's the danger of social media. The great part is the video apparently alerted Lowell police, because before that 911 call was made, the video.
Oh, wow.
They saw the video, and that's how they kind of started to search for things, according to what I was told. They did quickly clarify, a police department source clarified for me, there is no shooting right now. Right. We're just looking for somebody. It could be innocent. It could be a young kid walking around, whatever.
My son was coming home from work in Lexington, and we had talked about, had he seen the video? And he said, and his first thought was that looked like an M16. He said, but then again, I thought, Dad, and that, it could be just an airsoft gun, which is just like a pellet gun. And I said, even if it is, you can't walk around like that near a college or a school or anything.
Correct. This close to a school shooting, or in this day and age of school shootings. Some conversations late last night, this morning, airsoft gun. A video. Counselor Corey Robinson posted a video from somebody's Ring doorbell. Yeah. And you could see this individual look like the exact same person walking down a street and actually pointing and firing the gun. But you didn't hear a bang, bang, bang. You heard a pop, pop, pop.
And there was a little kid like riding a bike or something nearby.
The kid never flinched, just kept going about. Yeah. So it was, I'm going to guess, somebody recognizable in the neighborhood, somebody known to walk around with whatever this was, and maybe there's been some speculation that might have some issues, because quite frankly, with that kind of law enforcement, you got SWAT teams, state police, and the FBI. If that kid is spotted walking with that thing, told to put the gun down and doesn't, that kid's getting shot by snipers. And now you've got a real tragedy instead of a situation that is hopefully a learning experience.
My only I thought Lowell responded well. The UMass Lowell State Police. The only thing, you and I both like the Congresswoman, right? But who the hell cares that you're monitoring the situation? I mean, and I'm sure it wasn't her. It's people who run her social media. They just should have shut up and let it go. And she's got a statement on there this morning, which is just what it should be. Congratulating and thanking nobody got hurt, and the police did a great job. But it just rubbed me the wrong way that I want you to know I'm monitoring the situation. What are you going to do? Call the National Guard? Wait a minute. You're pissed off at the guy who's calling the National Guard. So it just rubbed me the wrong way.
I did. My associates, many of them wise asses, just like me. One of them sent me the clip from Facebook and said, "Boy, I feel so much better
exactly.
now."
We both like Lori, but her social media team needs to take a break sometime.
So hopefully there will be a little bit more information today. I understand, and I understood in my own house last night. I got home from my fantasy football draft, and my wife says, "I don't think we should send the kids to school." They go to a private school. And then this morning, talking to others, I've heard that multiple parents are saying, "I'm not sending my kid today." They're calling in their kid sick and not sending him. So there is legitimate fear out there. Until law enforcement knows for sure, they're not going to say anything. Right. But indications are this is nothing. It's not a threat to the public. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let those kids get out of those barricaded college students and Stocklosa school students, whoever, get out of the building. My hunch is by today, that person, whoever it is, be it a kid, young adult, or whatever, will be identified. We'll find out that it wasn't really a threat, but clearly the message needs to get out. You can't go walking around the streets of the city with what looks like a rifle, because even if it's not real, somebody's going to think it is, and now you're
especially when you walk and point it the way that this person did. The superintendent of schools, Liam Skinner, did. I'm probably guessing that he sent out an email blast. I know he did a Facebook post, and it explains that they're going to have increased police presence just as a precaution. But schools are safe, and hopefully, but I would expect, especially schools like the Stocklosa and the Bartlett would have a kind of drop in attendance today.
Sure. Anything in that neighborhood, and again, my kids not even anywhere near there. My wife's like, hey,
right, I get it.
Let's not. It took a while for me to let her know it's okay to go, and then I dropped the kids off, and I let her know they're in the school building, they're okay, and I trust they're not letting anybody into any school building today. So, thankfully, no shooting, no injuries, and hopefully nothing more than a bad decision on somebody's part of what to walk down the street holding, and hopefully a learning lesson, a life lesson for somebody. You're tuned into the Daily Pulse, the Thursday, September 4th edition of the Daily Pulse. Gerry Nutter is our guest host today, and we're going to talk about the upcoming City of Lowell election, just a few days away, Tuesday, September 9th. Mail-in ballots are being transported as we speak. Not too many. We'll talk about that as well. Early votes are being cast. Not too many. We'll talk about that. But we'll also take a look at the races, where they stand today and where they're going to stand Tuesday night when the votes have been tallied. First, let me thank all of my Daily Pulse sponsors. Ray Booten, you can find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to the idiot who didn't turn off his phone, me. Thanks as well to WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to generations of families since 1925. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on to protect its most valuable assets since 1982. I just insured my brand new car with Mr. Preventure and the team over there at FEPINS.com. I had my old car with them as well. Then last but certainly not least, thanks to the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. We hope for yet another season. Nothing official yet, but we're some signs of optimism that it might just happen. So we'll talk more about that as that situation develops. Back with Gerry Nutter. First, let's use this as an opportunity to promote.
I was just going to say that. You mentioned, the election is next Tuesday, and we are going to be broadcasting the results here on Inside Lowell.
Yes.
You and I will be tag teaming the hosting duties. You're going to start at 7.
7, I'll be here 7 to 8 once the polls close.
I'll come in at 8 o'clock.
You're going to sit in the big chair.
Sit in the big chair there.
By the way, if you want to sit in the big chair from 7 to 8, you're more than welcome to.
No, I'll be at work. We work on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays are work.
Tuesdays are work day.
So that's interesting. It's not just an 8 p.m. closing for City Hall, 8 p.m. closing for
a lot of the departments.
As well. Okay, I did not realize that. So, all right, well, hey, as long as you're here by 8:05, we're good.
Okay, well, it's a long walk across the street. So.
But we'll have former city councilor and state rep candidate Jim Leary will be here. Greg Pappas, former elections director, will be here. Asa Stutz, my numbers guy and the king of the whiteboard, will be here as well to get the numbers and provide them to you and report them. From what I understand, we may be the only show in town. I talked to Marty Laurie. He's not doing WCAB.
We are going to be the only show in town.
So if you want to know what happened on election night, InsideLowell.com. Watch it on YouTube, watch it on our website, watch it on your phone, your tablet, your computer, put it on your big screen TV, as many people do. Yeah. And as some of the candidates will no doubt do as well.
We'll be broadcasting the results as they get in. We'll be talking about it with Greg and Jimmy, former candidate Jimmy.
Jimmy Leary. Yeah. John Leahy was supposed to join us.
This will actually be the first time Leary and I have done a show together.
Oh, no kidding. You've never done one with Leary?
Jimmy was already gone when I took over for you. You know,
Okay,
he and I were to get off the council.
Yeah.
And so he walked into the studio one morning to say hello. I think Jackie Doherty was with me, and he was in for like 3 or 4 minutes. But no, he's never sat there, and so now he has to do.
He's good. He's opinionated, and he can talk. So you're going to enjoy it. Between him and Greg, you may get a few seconds of microphone
That's
time.
all. Yeah, I don't need a lot. Yeah, good.
We were supposed to have former City Councilor John Leahy. He didn't realize his wife had booked a trip, so he won't.
So he's smartly going with his wife.
He didn't blow off the family trip with to hang out with you and I, but he will be here in November. He assures me, and we'll talk more about things with him. But we've got we'll have a few other surprises for folks as well. So 7 p.m. the live broadcast starts on InsideLowell.com and on our YouTube channel. So the debates are in the House, getting a lot of views. The ones that we did here on InsideLowell.com, District 3, District 7, District 8. What did you think?
By the way, it was so good to see you doing the debates and screwing up the guy like I've done a couple of times. If you think it's easy to sit in the big chair and remember whose turn it is, and it's great. It's okay. I sat there going, he went to school. He's a professional. I screw it up. I'm not, but that's okay.
I'm trying to check off the initials. I'm trying to write, and I still screwed it up. I almost skipped poor Corey Belanger.
I've done that myself, so it was great to see. Yeah, it was fun.
So what did you think? Anything gleaned from that? Were there winners? Were there losers? More importantly, were any needles moved?
No, I don't think so. I think what you saw in the debates was, what you thought you saw. I thought we'll start with the Belvedere debate. I thought that Corey and Belinda did a good job. I thought that they also did a great job with the Lowell telecommunications debate. I thought those two were the best with that. I was surprised that Erin seemed nervous with her responses, because I've had the pleasure talking with her. She's a great candidate, very smart. Maybe she's just not used to the public speaker.
But it's section. An adjustment. You know that. Remember your early days of radio, my early days of radio and TV. It's an adjustment, and it's not an easy thing, but you do get more comfortable with it as you go along.
I go back to my first interview was with Paul Sullivan.
Oh God.
I was on Paul's show when I worked for Tommy Belgard at the Recreation Department 35 years ago, 36 years ago. Yeah, I know I'm old. And but that's how far back. So by the time I hit CAP with Shaw, I was used to talking. So the debate, you don't think either our debate or the Belvedere Neighborhood Association one, which was the night before, did that change anybody's minds by this point? No, I think at this point it's all going to come down to what it always comes down to, and that is getting your people out to vote. And I've heard some people in Belvedere say, oh, there's going to be 30-35%. I don't see 20%. Not for a preliminary, even though there's 4 people. So it's going to come down to who gets their vote out. And, Danny Finn, I think, has improved from where he was in 2017. Somebody needs to tell him, no, when they pass the mic in the debate, don't put your hand over this part or this part.
He and Corey Belanger, because of the alphabetical order, did have to share a microphone both here and also on that stage.
And that stage was passed along.
Belvedere.
Yeah.
So, any prediction? Who advances in District 3?
Last time I said it was going to be the 2 women.
You did.
Based on what I'm hearing from people and based on the debate performances, I think it may actually be Corey Belanger and Belinda Giron.
Interesting. Yeah. So you believe there has been a shift, at least in your projection.
I think Corey has surprised people with how strong. He's come out, exciting experience, and accomplishments. I think he's done a good job with that. So the other thing is him and Belinda. I did a little show prep yesterday.
Okay.
Him and Belinda.
Show prep.
I
didn't do any.
I know, but that I just figured I should probably.
I was busy writing columns to piss people off. You did show prep.
They're the only 2 candidates who have done like Inside Lowell and the Sun. And Belinda has done all three. Belinda has done CAP too. So they've got their message out there to a lot of people, and I think it's helped. I think Corey did a town hall, and I think it's helped that he's been much more confident during these debates. I think that has helped him. So.
The power of incumbency came through to me watching both of those Belvedere debates. Again, all the candidates are knowledgeable. I mean, it's a tough choice. I would not want to have to make that choice in Belvedere in District 3. But as the other three talked about what they want to do, Corey Belanger, as an incumbent for only 1 year, has been able to say what he did. So when they talk about traffic and road safety, well, we put speed bumps here. We did sidewalks there. So there is a tremendous advantage to incumbency, and it highlights why it's so hard to knock an incumbent off.
A lot of people had said once you get, the district representation, it's going to be like a state rep seat, and it's going to be hard to, to get somebody out once they're in, which I think is going to prove true. But, Corey has only been there for 14 months this time.
Right.
He's got a track record. He's been serving for a long time. As he always says, he was on the Board of Appeals, and he's been involved with the Folk Festival and Winterfest and the Opioid Task Force. So he's got a good background of experience. So I think it's helped him. And I think he's become more confident using that message, staying on point.
Yes, but the Corey Belanger that I talked to in 2025 is different than the Corey Belanger in 2012 and 2013. Again, that said, it's a tough choice, and I know there are people who are conflicted because they like all four candidates.
You get four strong, good candidates, and any of them could squeak through here. So, I mean, if you asked me to pick, so I picked, but I think it's going to be close.
All right. District 7. Councillor Paul Ratayem was still in Europe. He did want to point out that not only did he pay for the extra time he stayed in Europe and his family time, he also paid for the portion of the trip that the city would have covered for him. The city picked up the tab for the councilors for the certain number of days. He wants to let people know he paid for that himself. He did not want that to become a campaign issue.
So the manager could have used that and had either you or I go to do live, and neither one of us were invited.
I'm glad you said it and not me.
You didn't say. You had him here yesterday, you held off on saying that.
I should have told him, if Yem is going to pay his own way, there's a few extra bucks.
A few extra bucks you could have.
Can you imagine the junket outcry if Panos was tagging along in Geneva? So we got to hear the two challenges. A good opportunity for Jose Cervantes and Sidney Lang to talk. Two different candidates.
Yeah, Lang much more comfortable speaking, a little more knowledgeable. I thought.
You thought so? Okay.
Yeah, I thought he did pretty good.
I think Cervantes can talk. Cervantes can talk. He's also part behind the scenes. There's a lot of rancor, especially on social media, between those two camps, and you can kind of see some sniping back and forth. Clearly, the two of them are battling to compete with Paul Ratayem in the general. Should Paul Ratayem be concerned in any way, shape, or form that he finishes third Tuesday night and doesn't get to November?
Hopefully not, because again, he's experienced. He's been, representing them and serving the district. So I don't think he needs to worry about getting through the preliminary. Now, what happens in the general, if Liang advances, the thing he has going for him maybe is Cervantes doesn't sound like he's going to, go and support Liang. So maybe Yem picks up a lot of those votes.
So interesting point. So I got a little demographic information on the Acre District, on District 7. And much to my surprise, the Hispanic population far outnumbers the Southeast Asian population. Now, they don't vote.
That's the problem.
And apparently, if you look at the raw numbers in that district, the Southeast Asians don't vote either, but more of them vote than the Hispanic population. Can Jose Cervantes galvanize those numbers and get enough of them to come out to make a difference in that race? Because it is a very sizable advantage that Hispanic voters hold over Asian voters in that district.
They don't vote. And that's been, Hispanic community has not been able to galvanize around any, George Ramirez, I think, has been the only Hispanic counselor that we've had.
Yeah, and his base was
and his
Belvedere.
base was Belvedere. But I've talked to people in the Hispanic community, and they've tried. They just can't get, can't get organized, or can't get everybody behind somebody, and it's tough. So, interesting if Cervantes does pull this off. I took a look at the OCPF, the campaign finance. He's the lowest, $988 is what he has as of August.
Running a campaign on a shoestring budget.
On a shoestring budget in a small district, and that's a big advantage now. Is you're asking roughly 13,800, I think, somewhere around there per district if you're running in a district. So you have much smaller, but Paul is like 3,500 and Sidney Lang is 2,900. So they have some money out there that they'll be able to do direct mailings, and that's what's gonna, you got to get the people out. That's the problem in that district. You can win that district with 400
or 500 votes.
Yeah, people turning out. Yeah.
So push comes to shove Tuesday night, somewhere around 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever the time is. What two names are you reporting coming out of?
Yem and Liang.
Yep, in that order or in
order. I think it might be Yem and Liang.
Okay, takes us to District 8, the most recent candidates forum we had. Incumbent John Dakota, two challengers, Marcus Candido and Francisco Maldonado. One really not known in public, Francisco Maldonado, because of his almost 3 decades with the Lowell police. Known. What happens in that race?
All three very well spoken.
Yes.
And Mr. Candido, young guy, left of Elizabeth Warren, but I don't think that works in the Highlands. I think Maldonado, it's going to be Dakota and Maldonado, and I think John is going to hold onto the seat.
It's funny. I was listening to the debate and also my interview with Marcos Candido, and I thought very articulate for young, very smart, very knowledgeable. I almost feel he should be running in the Lower Highlands or the Acre, as he talks about more. He was the one guy who said we need more housing in the Upper Highlands, and he talked in one of them. He talked about row houses on vacant lots on Middlesex Street and whatnot. Which again, I'm open to any ideas, but is that going to fly with the low preliminary percentage of voters in the Upper Highlands who fought Mary? Remember the famous Mary Burns fight? They didn't even want a nice house
in a lot,
there, let alone big housing developments in their neighborhood.
That's not gonna fly. And he's another guy who's running $322 in his campaign account.
Wow, I didn't see that.
He's running on a shoestring. He's just
he's doing well though. He's putting videos out there. He's got some graphics different. They're eye-catching compared to the traditional
problem
stuff.
Is unless there's a major issue, people don't come out and vote in preliminaries, especially younger people. He's aiming at really a 40 and under crowd, almost like a 35 and under crowd. They don't vote. They don't vote.
Yep, they certainly don't. Which nice segue. Gerry, it's almost like you've done this before.
I know what else we're leading up to. So
they don't vote, which begs the question: does anyone care? And my original notes before I wrote my column this morning were because I'm hearing anecdotally from candidates how they talked about it in some of the debates here off the air that they're approaching houses, they're approaching registered voters to knock on doors. They know that somebody's home. They can see activity in the window. They can see the lights on. The moment they get on the porch, the front steps, knock the door, ring the doorbell, silence. It's as if you can hear the feet scurrying to get out of there lest they be seen. There's a lot of folks who say, I care. I do want to vote and I don't want you knocking on my door. So how do you run a district campaign where the whole point was to get your boots on the ground and meet your neighbors and talk to them if people are seeming to be resistant to even the door knocking now?
I think you have to use all forms of social media to reach the people in your district now, because they don't answer the door. They don't, they have other things going on. and they don't know you're a candidate, or, hey, I get your deal on solar,
Yeah.
or hey, we can reduce your electricity bill. You name it. There's other people going around. I'm here to give you a great deal paving your driveway. They don't want to answer the door. And so, if you see somebody outside, more or less, they will talk to you if you approach them. But you're right, people don't answer the door. So unfortunately, you have to go to this, not only social media, though. I think it is still worthwhile to advertise here on Inside Lowell and The Sun and CAP, because you're reaching all different demographics that way.
And you're reaching the people who care.
Right.
You know from the morning show, the people who listen to the morning show were the stakeholders,
right,
AKA the people who were involved and got out and vote. Ditto here and Inside Lowell. Occasionally we run a story, like yesterday's incident, which they're reading it in Germany and in California. But the core audience of Inside Lowell is people who care, people who are going to vote. Sun, the same way. Does any of that move the needle?
No. The only thing that's going to move the needle is people, getting there. If you're a friend of John Dakota, all the years he spent, running the bus situation, Team Mickey Ward. He tries to sing occasionally with a band. And,
third-rate lounge singer, from what I understand. Although I've told him that was an insult to third-rate lounge singers.
I can't sing to save my life, as people know from listening to the radio. So I'm not one to talk, but, so people know Johnny. He's a great personality and all. But you got to get out there and, if you support him, you got to get out and vote.
And that's, the question, will people take it for granted that he's an incumbent, he's going to advance and say, you know what, oh my God, I want to vote, but my daughter's soccer practice is running late, and I sat in traffic getting back from work. So that's the challenge with the preliminary. And that is the point of, let's make it easier for people to vote, so those last minute snafus on election day don't happen. So let's give them early voting in person. We'll set up a week for them to show up and vote in person somewhere. And COVID, mail-in voting. Let's make absentee ballots, mail-in voting available for everybody, even after COVID, because this will engage people. This will get those silent voices to flock to their mailbox, if not their voting booth, and vote. Spoke to Will Rosenberry, City of Lowell election director. By the way, story on InsideLowell.com. Headline, something to the effect of early voting a dud again. So let's do a little math, shall we? I'm going to show Liam Skinner that I know my math.
Very good.
77,125 registered voters in the city.
Which is an amazing number.
Huge. Let's put that aside for a second, because that's going to create some issues on election day. But 77,125. Of those voters in the whole city, 123 have voted in person as of the close of last night. Now they can vote in person today, and they can vote in person tomorrow at the senior center. Please do get those election volunteers and workers to do a little work instead of scrolling through their phone and watching Inside Lowell podcasts. The early voting numbers, they're always low.
Mail-in. People are mailing it in.
And they do on a presidential election, even a gubernatorial election. Not as much, but they'll, even numbered years, they will use the mail-in votes. 158 requested mail-in ballots, according to Will Rosenberry. That's requested, not returned. But I'm going to assume if you went through the trouble of requesting one, you intend to send it back, and unless it gets lost in the mail along with my electric bill, National Grid, your vote will be counted. So 281 total early votes out of 77,125 registered voters.
Well, wait a minute. There's only 3 preliminaries. So let's break it down.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. So, but those first numbers I gave you, 0.0036 people of the eligible voters voted, which is less than 4%. Yeah. Less than 4%, less than 0.4%. Right. Not even half of a percent voted from the pool of city voters. But as I was reminded by Will Rosenberry, but you were only asking people to vote in 3 districts, which have 28,847 registered voters. Well, the math gets a little bit better. 0.0097. Still less than 1%. We're almost at 1% of the eligible voters have taken the time to vote early to date. Now, some will vote today. Probably be a good number that vote tomorrow, the early voting. It'll push the number above 1%. Will it get it to 1.5? Will it get it to 2%? So, Gerry, I ask you, why are we doing this? Why do we continue to just overcomplicate the process, both for our elections officials, for the voters, for the people who have to put on the elections to get this information out? Are we doing it just to appease the activists so they can have something to bitch about?
Yeah.
With voter engagement?
Right. That's it. That's
Thank you.
That's exactly what they.
That's all, folks. We're done for the day.
Yeah, see ya. We got to give people an opportunity. We got to bring everybody in. We got to give everybody every opportunity. And we do. And so far, we've learned that it isn't working. You're not getting them involved. You're not getting them to do that. Especially in municipal election, it always drives me crazy that municipal elections have the biggest direct effect on you. They set your property taxes, your schools, your police, your fire, your trash, and yet people will vote for the president who really has really no great direct effect on our day-to-day life. And they'll go for the governor.
That's the old, that's the old school of thought, though.
But they don't.
When Doge started going through there, boy, did a lot of people get concerned about how federal government affects their day-to-day life, don't they?
Yeah, but then again, they don't turn out to vote, especially in a preliminary. And that's we're seeing that now. I don't think the total number is going to be even. I'm going to say, at best, 11% of possible voters
in the preliminary
turnout.
That would be very sad when you consider that 2 of those 3 districts are the high turnout districts. Belvedere, District 3, and District 8, the Upper Highlands. Those, along with Pawtuckettville, have your biggest turnout. So since they have preliminaries and 3 candidates running around trying to get people to vote for them, you would like to think, well, maybe we can have a disproportionate high turnout for preliminary.
Maybe we will. Maybe I'll be going, well, I blew that one. Won't be the first time. Yeah. So
ditto.
Right. So, but I don't see it historically. You can't get people out to vote in a preliminary.
And by the way, before you beat yourself up, Lowell, be advised that in municipal elections, you dwarf Drake, Chelmsford, Tewksbury, Billerica, whatever. We get into the double digits. As disappointing as we think the turnout is, we get into the double digits. Was it Chelmsford or Drake 2 years ago had 6%, 8% this year? It's like they just don't care about municipal elections. So why the bleep are we doing mail-in and early voting and this and that? Like, I'll give you the mail-in.
Because the same reason why we don't keep score in T-ball, it's just about participation. We want to give everybody the opportunity to participate.
Those who want to participate are participating. I would be willing to bet if we could interview all 281 people that have voted early to date or requested a ballot, that 280 of them, the over-under would be set at 280 of them would show up to vote next Tuesday on the regular election day. The people going to vote early, the people requesting the ballots, want to vote, so they will vote on one election day no matter what. Is it more convenient for them? Sure. Yeah. Is that worth it? I mean, we're bitching about, what, $35,000 junket to Geneva? Costs more than that to do mail-in voting and a preliminary election in Lowell, early voting, whatever. Why are we not concerned about that? We can't put a price tag on democracy.
Democracy, exactly.
Actually, we can. We can put a price tag. These 280 people would still vote.
I believe that, yeah.
And I might take the over. If Vegas set the over under 280, I might take the over and say all 281 would have voted, barring a tragedy between now and election day. So why the hell are we doing this? It's just
mail-in voting for people who, they're sick, they don't have transportation. That's been around forever. Mm-hmm. That part has been around. You can always.
That's true. Some of these 281 would have already voted absentee ballot anyway.
Right. So, but now they extended it so that, you have no excuse now not to vote. You're right, you don't, except for the fact that people don't care.
I don't want to. I don't want to vote. If I don't want to vote, you're not going to make me vote. I don't care how many mailings you send me. I don't care how many activists come to my door. Yeah. I'm not going to vote unless I get energized.
Unless it's a huge issue like the arena or the high school, you'll get people to turn out for those things.
Correct.
Otherwise, they just won't turn out.
100%?
Yeah.
Correct. I'm starting to agree with you about where you think even the Belvedere turnout will be lower. If I'm looking at these numbers, and then again, there'll be a lot of people who'll show up. The vast majority of voters will clearly vote on Election Day. But I'm not so sure it's going to be the thing I hoped for, or that our friend Marty Laurie predicted.
Marty Laurie's like 20%, 25%. Isn't that what he was saying? Yeah. I don't think they'll be above 15 in Belvedere.
Wow. That would be interesting. So then it's a matter of who energized their vote enough.
Vote enough to get out there.
To get them out. We haven't talked about District 5 because they don't have an election or competitive election until November, if they have a competitive election. But
I don't think Kim's gonna go to court over it.
You don't think Kim Scott's gonna go to court over the election signatures? No. I'm going to predict today, and by the way, I have no inside information. I have not talked to Kim. She was in Geneva. I was trying to get her on the Daily Pulse from Geneva, and she didn't reply. She strikes me as a person who, when she gets into a battle and she thinks she's right and you're wrong, I think she fights that battle to win. I'm going to predict that Kim Scott does file an appeal.
Why hasn't she already?
She was in Geneva.
She had a few days before. She could have filed it.
She could have, but
if she was that dead set, I think she might have filed the next day or had her lawyer file within a couple of days. Now I think she's just going to say, you know what, the heck with it. The woman who's running against her ran for school committee.
Sherry Barbosa's turning in. Sherry O'Connor Barbosa is actually saying she's still running for school committee this year too, with a sticker campaign, is what she's telling people.
Yeah, well, she wasn't successful when she was on the ballot, and she's a very nice. She's a nice person. I met her. She's very sincere, but it's just not someone who's going to excite you to get out and vote. And she doesn't have any. And with all the work that Kim has done, with her constituents, Kim it would be, as much as Kim thinks that probably thinks that she's right, and I haven't talked to Kim either on this, my guess is it's not worth the amount of money it would take to just run your campaign.
I was shocked she filed the challenge in the first place, because I'm like with you. Look, beating an incumbent is a tall task, period.
Right.
The way Kim has worked in her district, it's a huge really tall task. My thought was, she's not going to bother. She's just going to win. Yeah, she'll go knock some doors instead of, doing the obligatory sign placement and whatever. She filed an appeal with the Election Commission. That tells me she, at her core, she believes that something was done improperly here. And judging by what she wrote on some social media posts that we did about the Election Commission ruling, she is even more entrenched in her thought that the Election Commission screwed this up.
I think they did.
So I want to ask you,
I was an election commissioner.
Former election commissioner. To your credit, you were not part of the Dominic Lay Election Commission fiasco.
Nope.
I'm starting to think this one might be worse. How did 3 election commissioners disregard the law being read to them by the city solicitor, who, by the way, was one of the 2 votes? No, it was a 3-2 vote. How did they disregard his words, Corey Williams? Plus, my understanding is that Will Rosenberry, the elections director, read the law again, which is a post office box is not an acceptable form.
Never
and whether you're in the confidentiality thing or not, as Greg Pappas told us, there is an avenue that will allow that, but you have to follow that avenue, which was not followed in this particular case. So what were the 3 election commissioners thinking,
no clue.
Mr. Nutter?
No clue. I thought they were wrong, but one of the things when you get on the school committee, you have to go to, it's mandatory that you go to a training about school committee issues, right? That the state runs. And you have to, you have like a year to get this training. I don't know what happens if you don't get it. You get a slap on the wrist or something. But I took the training. I thought it was interesting. But they don't, you get very little training as an election commissioner. And I really think this has come now to a point where, Lowell has to take a look at it and maybe have a couple of seminars with, the Secretary of State's office. You hire a guy like Greg Pappas and teach them some very basic fundamentals like what's necessary. P.O. boxes have never been allowed, as far as I know.
No, and no disrespect to the town clerks of Dracut or Chelmsford, whoever runs municipal elections. Lowell has been blessed. Its last two elections commissioners, Greg Pappas and now Will Rosenberry, have years of experience in Boston with the Secretary of State himself. So when they tell you what the election law is, if I'm an election commissioner, even if I think, you know what, it's not right, but the law is the law. Right. And I think they open up the city to all sorts of disasters. So here's why I think Kim Scott will ultimately challenge it. And what happens in the future if Will Rosenberry crosses out a signature that has a P.O. box? Now that candidate has a beef because, hey, wait a minute, you allowed Sherry O'Connor Barbosa's P.O. box signature.
No, I didn't. I said no.
You didn't.
Right.
But
so appeal it, appeal it, and see if the election commission will allow.
But if they do, let's say they don't allow it in the future.
Right. And then
because the election commissioners do change. You served what, 2 years, 3 years?
2 years. That's
2 years. Okay. So but you've created a precedent where the city of Lowell is technically breaking the law, is breaking state election law. I don't think you can let that precedent stand. And I think that's what Kim Scott is thinking based on what she wrote on Facebook the morning after that election commission hearing.
All that may be true, but the legal system, as we know, is a very slow process. And the amount of money it will cost her, if anything, and I guess the city can appeal it because the election commission ruled, so they don't have an appeal. But maybe Kim, and I don't know the law. Can Kim appeal to the Secretary of State's office?
No, she appeals to district court. It goes through district court. It has to go to district court. Yeah, the state constitution, Mass General laws say either the Supreme Judicial Court or the district court, but it's almost always the district court. So
you get the court cost. To me, whether I'm right or not, I'm not going to spend the money involved. Right. She's got to.
I would do that as well, but when Kim Scott gets,
Kim,
text
one of us after you see this so we can come on and say what we know.
She will. Can you please start answering my texts?
If you don't want to talk to him, you're used to yelling at me. So go ahead.
Talk to Gerry. He won't tell me a word. I promise.
I'll come on myself.
It might be on the Sunday Notes.
Might be my Sunday Notes column. Yeah, exclusive.
So, anyway, all right. Again. Tuesday night, we'll know one way or another. The voters will head to the polls. 2 more days of early voting. Tuesday night, polls open at 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. Please get out and vote in districts 3, 7, and 8. Please be informed. Try to watch these. If you're going to vote and you're not informed yet, you still have time. Watch our debates here on Inside Lowell. They're all on our YouTube channel, all on our website. There are other forums you can watch. Lowell Telemedia. Kudos to Adam McEwen,
Adam does a good
executive
job
director,
there.
doing that whole BNA neighborhood debate, showing Geneva live that first day.
Like you and I, Adam is a radio guy.
Yes, he is. He gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. Adam's a radio guy.
So get out and vote, and then when the polls close, or even an hour before the polls close, tune in here.
That's right.
We'll tell you what's happening in terms of election day turnout, have some updated numbers, and then when they close, we'll get the results from the different polling locations. Obviously not official until Will Rosenberry puts out his unofficial numbers. Yeah. But my hunch is, unless there's a race that's within a hair and needs a recount or wait for some late, things or whatever, we'll know the results probably between 9 and 10 p.m.
It should be. It should be. Yeah.
And you will have the best analysis of any entity in Greater Lowell. Gerry's been doing this for what, 15 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
I've been doing it about 18 years elections. You know Greg Pappas, you know Jim Leary, you know the whole crew. You're not going to get a better election night coverage locally than you will here on Inside Lowell.
Great. It's going to be the place to be. And thank you for inviting me to do this.
Thank you for saying, I've been inviting you for years. Thank you for saying yes. I look forward to it.
I'm officially in the inside. I'm going to have to get some paraphernalia.
You just missed the last wave of,
I saw that,
of shirts, but I'll get you one next time. All right?
All right.
All right. And again, read Gerry Nutter's Sunday Notes. My hunch is you'll have some election material in there.
Oh, I'm sure I will this week. I haven't. Today's Thursday.
Today's Thursday. You better start writing. Get out of here and start writing.
I got to go to work first.
All right. Get to work. Yes, I think I've kept you as late as I can keep you. Thank you, Mr. Nutter. Good luck to you.
We'll see you Tuesday.
All right. We'll see you Tuesday night. We'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Pulse. We'll be joined by our good friend, Leslie Boder, for a Big Fun Friday. And then next Friday, it's going to be the most lively Daily Pulse we've ever done. Let me just put it to you that way. The most lively Daily Pulse we've ever done. And we're going to introduce you to one of the newest insiders. I think you're going to like her. She hates me. So you're really going to like her. She hates Batch, too. So it's going to be a fun show. And we'll be able to get your feedback live as well. More details in the coming days, in the coming week. Thank you for tuning in today to the Daily Pulse. As we like to say, Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place. I'll see you on the other side.